participating via Zoom, please remember to unmute your device before speaking and mute when you are not speaking. Positive experience for all attendees. Phone attendees should use *6 to unmute or mute and *9 to raise their hands. For those in the room today, please be aware that your microphone is sensitive and may pick up sidebar conversations. These conversations might not be heard in the room, but they may be broadcast. Item number 2 is a call to the audience. Members of the public were asked to submit written comments related to this meeting through the MAG website. Comments may be sent at any time leading up to the meeting, but must be received at least 1 hour prior to the posted start time for the meeting. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda or that are on the agenda for discussion and not for action. Could our staff please read those comments?
Yes, Madam Chair, we received several comments for today's meeting. At MAG, we read up to 15 minutes of public comments. And, the first comment is from Stevie at biketempe.org. Begin comment. Hello, I'm writing in with concern for upcoming MAG projects. I would like more bike lanes with safer access to all routes with extra signage. I'm using this as a broad request due to the amount of recent deaths of cyclists being hit by motorized vehicles and has become increasingly alarming. This whole state needs more assistance. Please also include local nonprofits to help distribute upcoming events and have them included on projects. End comments. The next comment is from Tio Argueta. Begin comments. MAG must work more in order to make sure communities most affected by lack of public transportation, heat, and pollution have access and have a voice at the table where decisions are made. End comments. Next comment is from annvand@gmail.com. Begin comments. The disparity of investment for high-capacity roads and freeways for ubiquitous car use has yielded the system we have today. To its credit, it offers a regional freeway system that is highly functional and plenty adequate for the urban footprint of the region. Pursuing more of the same offers limited benefit to the established region with a lot of infill and reinvestment potential, and serves to induce edge development at the expense of an already sprawling region to exacerbate associated challenges of long-term maintenance, air quality, health, and induced congestion. An honest assessment of the feedback MAG has received would conclude there is more work ahead to refine the scenarios of an equitable investment strategy that seeks a proud multimodal system with emphasis on par with that of freeways. Safety is a shared investment strategy for both scenarios and is certainly deserving of a boost to prioritize all ages and ability bikeways and connections to transit, producing safety improvements to the design interdependence of transit, walking, and biking are all efficient, equitable, and responsible ways to meet the demands of our urbanized region. Mode shift goals are deserving of our attention in establishing our regional transportation vision for the next 30 years. With over 44% of trips in the MAG region requiring 3 miles or less of travel, our system could unlock barriers to walking and biking with funding for targeted strategies. Resetting the scenario planning effort to revise the mobility strategies of the region would be advisable. Currently, transit options are pitted against each other. Active transportation is pitted against first-class transit options and commuter rail options. These investment strategies are complementary, and yet the structure of the scenarios asks that we make these investments compete against one another in opposing strategies. Multimodal aspirations have suffered in this approach with suboptimal fractured funding strategies. Alternative scenarios should be developed and publicly explored to resolve this error in logic. There lacks a recognition of the regional versus local transportation system priorities. End comment. The next comment is from david.crummy@gmail.com. Begin comment. Item 3, development of a new regional transportation plan. Please vote to return the proposed momentum plan to staff to start over. The plan is fiscally unsound and commits a generation of Arizonans to an unprecedented 25 years of taxation that will increase regional congestion, air pollution, increase demands on our already underfunded roadway maintenance budgets, and does not address the increasing number of roadway deaths on our already unsafe roads. This misguided plan has had minimal public input and, if forwarded to the ballot, will fail, jeopardizing this important funding source with outdated planning principles and misguided priorities. Please do not forward this plan to voters. Return it to staff to commit a meaningful public outreach, analyze the unfunded maintenance components, and look at it through a fiscally conservative lens that considers the impact on the generations ahead. End comment. Next comment is from Hancock Chan at AOL.com. Begin comment. As a former City of Phoenix Parks Board member serving 9 years under 2 different mayors and a Growing Smarter Oversight Council member serving under 2 Arizona governors, I want to urge the MAG Regional Council and Transportation Policy Committee to prioritize active transportation funding for our Maricopa County citizens who rely on a fully balanced and equitable financial investment that provides human-powered access to safe, healthy, and livable community destinations. A fully connected alternative transportation system must provide access and options for people of all ages, abilities, and a very broad socioeconomic strata. Walkable, bikeable neighborhood pathways serve as critical connectors to Maricopa County residents without vehicles. These pathways provide access routes to schools, jobs, local businesses, bus and rail linkages, medical care, food, and healthy recreational opportunities. These neighborhood pathway linkages are as much a critical infrastructure system for these community populations as the unsafe paved high-volume, high-speed streets, highways, and freeways. In your positions as elected officials and transportation planners, please carefully consider that all citizens must have connected, complete pathways that provide access to their neighborhood community services. You must acknowledge that each front door in a community serves as a trailhead to a system of safe and healthy pathways. A neighborhood alternative transportation infrastructure must be adequately funded to provide an equitable, balanced, well-planned, and politically supported network of linking pathways that serve as people-powered, healthy initiatives to vehicle-centric systems of transportation. End comment. The next comment is from milnerk@gmail.com. Begin comment. Investment in high-capacity arterial roads and freeways focused on motor vehicle use has yielded the system we have today. To the credit of MAG and past investments, our system offers a regional freeway system that is highly functional for the urban footprint of the region. Pursuing more of the same investment strategy offers limited benefit to the established region with a lot of infill and reinvestment potential. More motor vehicle use-focused investment serves to include edge development at the expense of an already sprawling region. This continued strategy brings with it the associated challenges of long-term maintenance, air quality impacts, health consequences, and induced congestion. There is more work ahead to refine the scenarios for an equitable investment strategy that seeks a multimodal system with emphasis on par with that of the robust freeway system already in place. End comment. Next comment comes from dbrennan.plc@cox.net. Begin comment. MAG Transportation Policy Committee, Momentum Plan, June 21st, 2021. I am providing comments regarding concerns about the planning process for the Chandler Transportation Master Plan 2019 update. The plan project recommendations were approved by the Mayor and City Council and submitted to MAG in early 2020. My comments focus on arterial street widening of 3 street corridors in North Chandler. Elliott Road, Loop 101 to Alma School Road, 2 lanes in each direction to 3 lanes in each direction. Warner Road, Loop 101 to Arizona Avenue, 2 lanes in each direction to 3 lanes in each direction. Ray Road, Loop 101 to Arizona Avenue, 2 lanes in each direction to 3 lanes in each direction. Number 1, no public meetings. There were public meetings conducted at city facilities in Central, Southeast, and Southwest Chandler. There were no public meetings conducted in North Chandler for the Transportation Master Plan. Neighborhood residents most impacted by street widening projects did not have the opportunity to provide feedback regarding the potential impacts of the projects. Number 2, disruption of existing neighborhoods. The 3 street corridors are in areas of Chandler developed with right-of-way widths to accommodate 5 lanes of traffic. Widening these arterial streets to provide 3 lanes in each direction will result in the relocation of residents and the destruction of homes. Number 3, public comments not provided to Transportation Commission. On October 24, 2019, a public meeting was conducted to solicit public comments regarding the plan recommendations. Citizens attending were asked to provide feedback during the meeting or via email the following day. On November 6, 2019, the Chandler Transportation Commission conducted a public meeting to review the plan and make a recommendation to the City Council. City staff had redirected the consultant team not to provide the public comments from the October 24th meeting to the Commission. The Commission recommended approval of the plan without having access to all public comments from the October 24th meeting, including comments regarding potential impacts of the street widening projects in North Chandler. Request. Based on the lack of community outreach, I'm requesting that the three street widening projects identified not be included in the final momentum plan. End comment. The next comment is from Kenneth Steele at pinnacleprevention.org. Begin comment. Greetings, MAG Transportation Policy Committee members. My name is Kenneth Steele, and I am the Healthy Community Program Manager at Pinnacle Prevention. Pinnacle Prevention is a Chandler-based nonprofit that works statewide to grow healthier families and communities. I am writing to encourage the TPC members to endorse active transportation as an integral part of the MAG region's transportation system. It has been encouraging to see the increased recognition and support for a more robust regional public transit system as we moved from Prop 300 to 400. Now is the time to recognize the need for more walkable and bikeable communities. The Regional Transportation Plan and the extension of Proposition 400 are both prime opportunities to prioritize and invest in a transportation system that makes it safe and easy for people to use active modes such as walking and bicycling. We not only know that pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure improve the economy through increased spending at local establishments as well as increased property values, we also know that employers are increasingly looking for locations that offer their employees walkable and bikeable neighborhoods in which to live, work, and play. Importantly, places that support safe walking and bicycling improve quality of life for residents and visitors. This is especially important for older adults, young children, and families without access to a motor vehicle. If we do not prioritize active transportation in the next 2 decades, our future is poor air quality, continued national recognition for pedestrian fatalities, and rising rates of costly chronic disease. Take steps in the right direction by speaking up for walking and biking. Thanks for your consideration. End comment. The last comment is from steviemi@gmail.com. Begin comment. I like the new Momentum Coalition ideas. I am a little worried about the lack of bicycle and pedestrian options. We're doing a lot for motorized vehicles. End comment. This ends public comment.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who participated in public comment today, as well as the many people who participated in meetings throughout the process. Members of the committee did have access to both the original public input report as well as the one for recent public input. And it was my compliments to the team who put that together. Great information there and very helpful to the committee. Item 3 is an update on the development of a new regional transportation plan. We'll turn it over to Audra from MAG Transportation staff.
Thank you, Chairwoman Gallego, members of the Transportation Policy Committee. Good to be with you again this week to present the results of the work you directed MAG to do last week and present to you for potential action today, revised investment portfolio, and the planning principles for which you concurred to last week. Next slide. I will reorient you to our performance-based planning process for which we've endeavored over the last 18 months or so, beginning with Regional Council's direction to have a call for projects from member agencies, receiving over 1,500 different submissions of ideas, concepts, projects for consideration, and over the course of the last month, have been able to refine that now to the package that is in front of you, comprising about 300 different projects and program ideas under a fiscal constraint scenario of 25 years at a half-cent scenario. Next slide. You'll see we're at the end of this performance-based process. indicating now we are at a decision-making point and milestone. Next slide. Just to recap the direction you provided last week at your regularly scheduled Transportation Policy Committee meeting, there was a concurrence on the assumptions. Discussion certainly ensued, an ultimate agreement to the assumptions laid out. And then there were several project changes, including changing the interim facility for State Route 30, SR 85 to Loop 303 to an option 2 alternative, adding then a series of projects in the West Valley that are able to be delivered now with some project cost savings, including several on the Loop 303, and then a request to add 2.5 miles of another streetcar extension to Fiesta Mall. Next slide. So the proposed investment plan was distributed for your consideration and is now comprised of this direction you provided last week. Next slide. Just so by way of reminder, a half cent for a 25-year horizon includes also the 5 additional years planned commitments coming with our federal formula projections. The total portfolio over the course of 2026 to 2050 is estimated to be approximately $36.7 billion in estimated revenue. Next slide. You'll see the map here illustrating the investment plan for which you've provided us direction. You'll see the final direction provided last week also accompanied or presented in this map. Next slide. You'll also now see at the bottom of this slide the slightly modified and updated regional sub-balance calculations, which comprise an average of population growth over the planning horizon, and then the allocation of those investments between those 3 subregions. Next slide. High-level overview of this investment portfolio you'll see here, including the large allocations to the major modes, as well as the increased proportionality in the programmatic investments. You'll see on the right side of this slide some of the fast facts associated with this investment portfolio, including over doubling our active transportation investment from current, as well as improved or increasing our transit investment, including bus operations, doubling the amount of funding the regions supporting in bus operations currently, and then several new programs and arterial investments, in addition to a transportation demand management program where we can really further increase what we consider some low-hanging fruit across the region. Next slide. So next steps, we are here today to present this final draft package for your consideration. Next slide. It is on your agenda today for potential action on the proposed investment plan that we have presented, in addition to the associated proposed and recommended tax rate, a half cent for 25 years. This is also on Regional Council's agenda tomorrow for potential action if this committee decides to take recommended action today. And if so, through tomorrow in Regional Council, we would come back after the 4th of July, begin working on the final elements, including phasing of the major projects included in the portfolio, to then take your direction to successfully enter into our federally required air quality conformity process, which is about a 4 or 5 month effort. Next slide. Just to orient you to where we are at in the overall schedule, you'll see we intended to deliver this consensus on projects and program composition this summer to enable us to go through that 5-month air quality conformity process, where we could then deliver the final draft plan for your consideration and adoption at the end of this year, providing us the opportunity then to begin enabling legislation in January, and if successful, to place on a ballot in Maricopa County as early as November of 2022. Chairwoman Gallego, that completes my presentation. We'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Audra. Any questions from the membership? And if we could bring up our online, perfect. All right. This item is on the agenda for information, discussion, and possible action on a draft investment plan, planning principles, and proposed sales tax rate and term. Do we have any public comment to read? No additional public comment. All right. Is there a motion? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just want to make one comment. Both Cheryl Lombard and I, Mark Reardon, Charles Tumsall, a few of us have been working alongside the business community to just have additional conversations and ensure that they understand what this program is and what the process is. And I would be remiss if I didn't, I think, speak to some of the things that they've brought forward as concerns. They are supportive of this, but they do not believe that this is enough. I think we probably all feel that way in some capacity, recognizing that we deal in some political realities. The other component that I feel like we are failing to address as a group is really the maintenance component. We've talked a little bit about diamond grinding and about rubberized asphalt, that being a higher standard than maybe what is acceptable throughout the rest of the ADOT maintenance responsibilities. And I do think going forward, and I'm not trying to halt any process today, but going forward, we need to have some policy level discussions with this body about what types of investments we are willing to make in maintenance in order to ensure that our system remains the high quality that I think we've all come to appreciate and that our citizens come to expect. So I don't mean to speak for any member of the business community, but just recognize the fact that a half cent is not enough. The buying power of a half cent for the next 25 years is much less than the buying power of the half cent that we've had for the previous 20 years. And we deal in the political reality of what we can get through the legislature. I still believe that we need to continue to work with the legislature to ensure that Maricopa County has the same authority as every other county within the state. And in addition to that, we may need to, in coming years, think about a layered approach to our funding strategies as it relates to transportation. Many municipalities do have their own transportation tax, and we may need to look further about an additional maintenance tax, particularly if our legislature fails to bring up the modernization of the gas taxes as their responsibility. So I say all that to say I don't want to remove the responsibility from the legislature, but I do believe that we have a responsibility to the citizens of this region and also to the future planning. We are tasked with being, I think in most cities and in our respective positions, we are tasked with being the visionaries for what is to come. And I take that responsibility seriously and also recognize that we all have to deal in the political realities in which we are currently situated. So again, not to derail anything here, but would just like to add those comments for the record and encourage us to continue this dialogue. This isn't going to be enough.
Chairman Sellers.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, and thank you, Ms. Daniels, for those comments. I think you all know that I agree that I have some concerns. When you put together a 25-year plan, what flexibility do we have going forward if we find that it really isn't addressing the needs for this region? All that being said, I think that it is so critical that we have consensus on a plan that we can sell, because not getting a plan approved would be the biggest disaster of all. So, I'm supportive of what we're doing. I do have concerns about whether or not it really is enough for us in the long term.
Madam Chair, it's Ken Weiss.
We'll go Mayor Weiss and then Councilmember Durham.
So for me, my concerns regarding maintenance and operations have not been answered. And I am willing to go forward with this plan because I think we're at 0 hour and we need to move forward. And there has been so much compromise from cities across the West and East Valley, and truly a partnership between all areas of the valley. But I have concerns, and my concern is not the work that Eric and his team have done on this. My concern is that the legislature still refuses to fund maintenance and operations for ADOT the way that they should, and they put it on organizations like MET. Mag, that is a real concern. And while Jen and Jack talk about the need for more dollars, the truth is that a certain portion of maintenance and operations takes away critical needs from all areas of the valley. So while I agree that I will go along with the consensus and I appreciate all the hard work, I just want on the record that I have real issues with maintenance and operations at this point.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember.
Thank you. We from Scottsdale are going to support the plan, but like some others, we have concerns over voter support from our community because Scottsdale was a net donor to Proposition 400, and we're also going to be a net donor to this next project by about 2% of by about $2 of sales tax for every dollar of benefit that comes back to Scottsdale. We understand that's always going to be our fate, that we're probably always going to be a net donor here, but that concern is heightened by the 25-year stretch of this program. So when there are competitive opportunities for additional funds to Scottsdale, we hope that we'll be considered for those opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Commissioner Lombard.
Thank you, Chair. As Jen mentioned, as a business member, we have been trying to educate the business community in terms of what is going on with the investments. Obviously, Prop 400E has spurred tremendous economic growth across the valley, and we're encouraged, at least I'm encouraged by the 25 years it's moving forward. As to the maintenance, I mean, I do agree. It is the legislative authority to address. I would like to harken back to, I think, 2 meetings ago where we had a good discussion on Commissioner Seller's recommendation about similar authority for the county. So I don't know if that's a viable option to add to the motion.
I would certainly support a friendly amendment to, and I do think 2 meetings ago we reached consensus that we did want Maricopa County to have parity with every other county. So if the maker of the motion would be supportive, that we would ask the legislature for that parity.
I wouldn't have any problem with making an amendment with what she has, although I would like to make a statement at the same time. You know, I chaired this committee before you did, before myself, my good friend to my right, and I challenge the next coming transportation chair that follows you to make a priority that we get equity in Maricopa County. It's critical. We don't have any other choices. And I think it would be the simplest thing for this committee to take on as a whole, that we all get behind it, work real hard. But it's also imperative that we get this done today, what we're doing right now. Parallel tracks are something that we can certainly do. We can move forward with a plan. It may not be the best plan, but I've never been in any negotiation ever where everybody was really, really happy. That wasn't actually the best you're going to get. It's when somebody is very, very happy and other people are very, very angry. That's the worst deal that you can get. So right now, everybody seems to be grumbling. Probably about as good as we're going to get it. But I would support that idea. I think the equity within Maricopa County with all of the other counties is critical. We talked about that when I chaired it. We've talked about it since you've chaired it. We talked about when Jen chaired it. So this isn't a new notion. It's somewhere or another, it's just kind of got revived, but I would certainly be supportive of doing parallel tracks at the same time. So with my amendment to my motion, I don't know if we need a second to the amendment to my motion.
Is the seconder of the motion comfortable with? Wonderful. And thank you, Mayor Wise, for your leadership on regional equity. We are the fastest growing county in the country, and that we have real responsibilities to invest in our future. And we would not be in this position had we not made investments in previous generations. So it's important to move it forward.
Sure.
Mayor Dobbs.
I think it was Moyud all said everything's been said, but not everyone said it. So let me just underline, I think that the theme that we've got here, but sure, more would be better. I mean, this is a room of transportation advocates, and every one of us have got to be a little disappointed that we're not pursuing a full send. But having said that, success is mandatory in this situation, and And we have to have a path forward that we know is going to be successful. And the half-cent 25-year plan and this list of projects, to me, is that plan. So I just say amen and hallelujah again to this idea that we need to make equity with the other counties a legislative priority going forward. And maybe ultimately that will be how we get all that we want. But for now, I see a lot of wisdom in going forward with this plan, and thank everyone in this room for coming together to make this possible. So we enthusiastically support this one.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Lord.
Yes, now. All right, great. Well, I'm really pleased and thrilled by this action. I know when I suggested that 25, I heard all your comments, and everybody took a deep breath and said, oh, first comment, the legislature will never pass that. Well, we'll see. I think they will. I agree with everybody. I said from the very beginning, we need a 1 cent. And everybody said, oh, and that'll never pass. So everything we talk about, it'll never pass. Well, we have to keep trying. We have to be discoverers again, like our forefathers that came here. We have to be more like that and stop always being so political that we miss the important things. Mac, thank you. I think we all need to give them thank you today. Staff, you've done a fantastic job. I think it was very difficult, and I understand that not everybody around this table is 100% satisfied. But look back at your life. Have you been 100% satisfied? No. You have ups and downs, and you give where you need to give. And so I think this is, for regionally, I am so proud of this group. And I think that we have flexibility, we have the equity, we have Route State 30. I have to say that because, you know, that's what I was really fighting for. But this year was different with MAG. I really like to continue these conversations. I felt everybody really brought their feelings to the table, but then were reasonable. And I know there are some objections. I've seen, you know, when I first did it, and I saw today the same thing, but that's all right. That's your right. But what I'm hoping is we're going to be champions with the legislature. So I'm hoping that the governor's office, they're going to ensure the effort, the successful legislation for us to credit all the cities for coming together. So thank you, Chairman. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll go to Mayor Hall and then Commissioner.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very supportive of the plan. I'm in agreement with Ken's concern about the maintenance and operations. I think we need to work on that with the legislature. And I'm also very supportive of the amendment to try to get Maricopa County, like every other county in Arizona. And like you said, Madam Chair, we're the fastest growing county in the country, and we need that flexibility as a county. So anyway, I'm very supportive of the plan. I want to thank staff for all their work, and I'm very proud of this group. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm supportive of the plan as well. It, like many of you have said, is not what I would have liked to have seen in terms of a number. But I think this is one of those occasions where it does make sense for us all to chime in. I think one of the things that we do on this committee is really look into the future. And we can't just do that for now and do it again in 25 years. Chairman Sellers, I think your idea of going to the legislature and asking for that and making that a top priority is really important because it allows us to come back in a few years and figure out what's next. I don't know what a few years is, and I don't know what's next, but if the last year has taught us anything, it's that we're not as great at seeing the future as sometimes we might like to think. And so working to get additional flexibility as we see the massive growth in the valley that we have all seen over the last several years is really important. So I'm supportive. I do hope that in the coming years we'll come back and look at additional funding mechanisms to fund additional infrastructure improvements. Thank you. One last thing I do want to say, this has been an incredibly difficult process. A number of people have mentioned MAG staff, and I think it's it's worth doing because we've really had to change numbers and do things quickly, and I really appreciate that. But it's also worth mentioning that the chair has taken a most unenviable position and worked through it with grace. So thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Harkey.
I'll amend Mayor Giles' statement, quoted Mo, it's while everything has been said, it's probably been said by enough of us here, but I do look forward to serving you as the chair of this, and I think today we get a temporary sigh of relief saying we're at this point, but with the recognition that we still have a lot of heavy lifting, both in working with our legislators to get this passed, as well as pursuing the 1 cent possibility of future. So, I think we're all feeling good about this with the understanding that there's a lot of heavy lifting in front of us. So I look forward to working with you to continue that process.
Thank you. And Mayor Harkey will be leading this committee as we do the important work of sequencing. I also want to speak to the folks who have reached out about active transportation. MAG has an excellent active transportation committee that does work with member agencies, our cities, Valley Metro, the Coalition of Arizona Bicyclists, and other stakeholders. And I would encourage people to stay involved with that. There are a lot of exciting projects coming out of that. And so many of the cities here included active transportation as part of their arterial street programs as well. Many cities also have separate funding mechanisms that they're using for active transportation. The city of Phoenix committed to 1,000 new miles of bicycling, and we are ahead of schedule on that installation. And I know it would extend the meeting significantly if all the cities mentioned the great things they are doing on active transportation. But there is good news there, as well as from our congressional delegation, which is fighting for several active transportation projects. So I think we can see a lot of progress in that area and taking it very, very seriously as well.
Madam Chair.
Well, I apologize. One quick. Queen Creek had we did not participate Plan 400. So we're looking forward to participating in this new edition. And I want to thank everybody for the hard work. It wasn't easy. Nobody is getting what they want, unfortunately. We're all compromising. We're all looking forward. We're all looking together as a committee and making Arizona a better place. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion on the table. Can we begin with a voice vote of those in the room? All in favor, please signal aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? And next we will go to those participating on Zoom. Please raise your virtual hand if you are in support of the motion.
Madam Chair, I do not have a virtual hand, but I will buy my opinion when they get to me.
Perfect. We have virtual hands from Mayor Peterson and Mayor Woods, and then I will call those who do not have virtual hands, beginning with Mayor Weiss.
Aye.
Commissioner DeClusen.
Aye.
Commissioner, let's see, Bridget, Councilwoman Binsbacher. Councilwoman Binsbacher? Okay, I was unable to hear Councilwoman Binsbacher. We'll go to Mayor Price.
Madam Chair, can I explain my vote?
Please do.
Yeah, I just wanted to take 2 seconds and say I certainly appreciate all the compromises that were made. I certainly understand the difficulties of this, and I want to just convey that I'm a big supporter of the process moving forward. As you all know, I'm in Pinal County, and so I will be abstaining from this vote. But as such, you are going to need rural counties and rural legislators in order to pass that measure on the legislative side. So please count me in, and anything we can do to help, we're all on board. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Hall.
Aye.
And can we try Councilwoman Binsbacher one more time? Could you hear her? I assume Bridget's iPhone is Councilwoman Binsbacher? I think it was star 6. All right, we're waiting for Councilwoman?
Madam Chairman?
Councilwoman.
Hello. Hi there. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. A quick question. So I just want to clarify. The amendment is requesting equal authority for counties, but we also have in this amendment the half-cent for 25 years.
Yes, so I believe Mayor Wires did approval of the investment plan dated June 18, 2021, supported by a continuation of the dedicated Maricopa County half sales tax for a term of 25 years and requesting parity with other counties.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And thank you, MAG staff and everyone for all of your time and commitment to coming to terms on this. So I vote yes.
Thank you. A unanimous vote. Eric Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Transportation Policy Committee. Thank you all for coming together. You know, and I think the comment around the table is, you said perfectly. If you have a couple people happy and everybody else grumbling, it's probably not a very good plan. The fact that I think everybody understands where we are in this process and are willing to compromise, I think that's really a great thing. I will, you know, Audra and John have been the face of this effort, but underneath all this is a great staff we have here at MAG, as well as a lot of consulting horsepower that went into this too. Having done this in Prop 400, I know how difficult it is, but Audra and John's team have just done an outstanding job. Thank you.
Can we get a round of applause for MAG and their team? Really appreciate your hard work, recognizing that we have a lot of work ahead, including a very busy couple months, and then gaining support both from other elected bodies as well as our voters. But I'm excited for the road ahead. I think we've come together in a great way. No one got everything they want, but we did move forward with a plan that will help Maricopa County become a stronger community and that emphasizes regional collaboration. So thank you to everyone who has participated so far and will continue to participate. And once the meeting has concluded, we will come together for a quick picture to mark today's milestone. Are there any requests for membership for an item on a future agenda? Are there any comments or announcements from the membership? Business is now concluded. The meeting is adjourned. For those of you attending in person, please don't forget to get your parking tickets validated and take your personal belongings. Thank you so much and congratulations.
We would like to get a photo too. Where do you want it?